Baumgarten. Well, today I want to discuss a ruling by the United States Supreme Court which said it will not hear the appeal of a German citizen who claims that while on vacation in Macedonia that he was kidnapped by CIA agents as a suspected Al-Qaeda operative and was whisked off to some undisclosed location in Afghanistan where he claims that he was tortured in an attempt to get him to give up information about Al-Qaeda's plans to attack the United States of America. Apparently, as it turns out, that the gentleman was not a member of Al-Qaeda. His name is Khalid al-Masri, and he has attempted to sue the United States government. Well, the Supreme Court, without comment, upheld the decision of a lower federal court of appeals, which ruled that this gentleman, Mr. Masri's lawsuit, was only really filed in an attempt to expose state secrets. You know, we're in a very trying time in our history here in the United States and elsewhere in the world over how to balance individual rights and the need to protect us from the threat of terrorism. And I think we all swing our opinions from one side to the other from time to time on this issue. You know, you watch Jack Bauer on the show 24, the fictionalized account of a counter-terrorist operative, Jack Bauer on the Fox television network. And, you know, when he goes and he beats up that terrorist and he puts a chain around his neck and hangs him until he gives up the information on where that nuclear bomb is located, which is about to go off and obliterate all of Los Angeles. You go, yay, yay, good for Jack Bauer. He's doing the right thing. Because, you know, of course, this guy is obviously a terrorist. He obviously knows where that nuclear bomb is. And you got to do whatever you got to do to get the information out of him in this fictionalized account in order to save the population of the west coast of the United States. But in real life, it doesn't always work that way. People do get brought into custody as suspected terrorist operatives, and they turn out not to be. So is it justifiable doing what this guy claims is done, and that is torturing people, depriving them of their freedom, depriving them of due process in order to get the information that they need to protect us from these individuals? Or have we become the very people we are trying to protect ourselves from? You know, I think it's a very delicate balance that we have to strike. I'm going to let Boaz get the first word on this, and then we're going to open it up to other callers. Boaz, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, it's pretty obvious why you want me to get the first word, Gary, because you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know me too well. And I have to say that I have to agree here with Miriam in text here, but I'm going to, you know, put a different angle on it. People seem to think that the method of torturing in order to retrieve vital information to save innocent lives is makes us just as bad as the terrorists themselves. This is the notion that a lot of people, and specifically liberals, say. I am not going to say that torture is the best method available to retrieve information. There are many methods to retrieve military and otherwise information about terrorist organizations. However, if we're talking about today's time, Gary, we live in uncertain times today, where we have you know, we have a threat, a specific threat that we did not experience 20 and 30 years ago. Even during the era of the Cold War between the former Soviet Union and the United States, that was one threat. But this is the kind of threat that really, Gary, does not really pertain to one government threatening another, one country threatening another. This is a terrorist organization or terrorist organizations that are threatening to kill and have done so already, as we know, 9/11/2001. So I say, Gary, if it becomes necessary to torture um, uh, people that we know that are hostile to the United States of America in order to retrieve information from them that will save tens of thousands of lives, then it's pretty obvious what we have to do. I know that sounds a bit brutal. Probably, probably it's very brutal, Gary. And there's no question about it. Torture is a very brutal method. There's no question. But if it's necessary to do so in order to save lives, then it has to be done. Secondly, Gary, by the way, when it comes to when and how to do torture, you know what, Gary? This is something that should be kept out of the news, out of the media. This is something that needs to be done on the quiet. The news media does not need to know about it. We, the public, don't need to know about this. Let the American military, CIA, whoever, do their job and keep us safe. That's it. That's how I feel about it, Gary.
But boys, what about in the case of this individual, as example, who is not a member of Al Qaeda? I mean, you know, of course, in the case when we believe that they are absolutely sure that the individual is a terrorist and has information about an impending terrorist attack, perhaps under those circumstances, we look the other way when they grab people and they make them disappear. But in this case, and I presume in other cases, the individuals turn out to not be members of Al Qaeda, do not have any information that would help us in the battle against terrorism, and yet, at least allegedly, according to this lawsuit, which will now not be heard, allegedly, members of the CIA grab the guy while he's on vacation in Macedonia, take him to an undisclosed place in Afghanistan, torture him, and then after they convince themselves that, oh, oops, we got the wrong guy, they pat him on the butt and set him free. I mean,
there's an answer. There's an easy answer for that, Gary. A very easy answer. You know what, Gary? Nothing is perfect. Okay, let me just make the fine point on that. Nothing is perfect. If the CIA made a mistake, they made a mistake. It happens, and it can happen. You know what? Give the guy $100,000, $500,000, pat him on the back, and say, "We're sorry. Here's some money. Here, let's buy you a new car. Now, just forget about it and don't talk about it." Hey, you know what, Gary? It's done all the time. And you know what? That is part of the entire picture, Gary. You know, if 9 out of 10 times we do torture somebody, if the CIA does torture somebody, and 9 out of 10 times we do get viable information, then you know what? The method is viable. The method should be used whenever it is absolutely necessary. And if 1 out of those 10 times we make that mistake, yeah, pay the guy some money and pat him on the back and say, "We're sorry, but we live in uncertain times." It's just like in wartime, Gary. Innocent people get killed during wartime. We don't like it, but it does happen. And innocent people are going to get targeted also during these investigations that include torture. It is what it is, Gary.
In fairness to the CIA, let me just say that we do not know that this man was tortured. We know that he is alleging in the lawsuit that he was tortured, but I don't think there's much question that he was abducted, because